I'm Roy Lee Lindsay with the North Carolina Pork Council, and I want everyone to remember, bacon makes everything better.
Proctor, welcome back to the David Glenn Show. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing very well. What can you tell us about this latest #1 recruiting class for the Duke Blue Devils? You're the point guard, so everybody expects you to get them the ball. A lot of fans are hyped up about Cooper Flagg and all the rest. What have you seen so far?
Yeah, I mean, obviously not knowing a lot about some of them coming into the year. I mean, they've lived up to what I've heard. Cooper is the most humble kid I've met. Khan, same thing, all of them. Kaman, Isaiah, Pat, Darren. I mean, they're older than what they really are, to be honest with you. Coop's versatile, he can do a bit of everything, score the ball, he guards, he competes. I think the biggest thing I've seen with all of them, they just compete on a daily basis, which you can't teach. So it's been great playing with them so far, and I'm just looking forward to the season.
As a guy who's been through 2 full seasons under Coach Scheyer, what is your advice to the young guys? And, are they usually willing to listen to what the juniors or seniors have to say?
Yeah, no, I feel like we have such a great relationship. Whatever I say or whatever they say, we all mean it from a place that is caring. And, we've built up our relationships to the point where we can say and have those tough conversations if need be. And, I think that just attributes to me and Caleb in the summer and just building those relationships, building those connections. It's an important thing, especially if you want to win late in March. So, definitely had those conversations with the guys, and, they're always listening and wanting to improve.
What was it like for you this past spring or summer where 2 of your teammates in the starting lineup move on to the NBA as early entries? Maybe you knew that was coming. It happens at Duke quite a bit, right? But 2 other starters left. We usually see guys on the bench looking for playing time transfer. You had 2, Jeremy Roach and Mark Mitchell, transfer out. Did you kind of know that was coming, or did you have a lot to process with all 4 of your fellow starters moving on in different ways?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot to process. Everyone makes a decision on what's best for them, and Mark was my roommate, Jerm. I was here since my freshman year, so obviously it's hard seeing those guys leave, but, I'm happy for them and the decisions they made for themselves, and, I can't wait to watch them. We all keep in touch. We're all still close, and we're all still family, so it's going to be fun watching them, just playing with their new schools, but it's going to be different. It's going to be weird seeing them in different uniform, but no, it's still love, and we're all still family.
Jon Scheyer, your coach, was part kind of a combo guard when he played for the Blue Devils. You can shoot, you can dribble and penetrate and dish to your teammates. What have you and he worked on in the offseason in terms of just trying to upgrade your game from these last 2 years?
Yeah, just sharpening up my offensive skill set. A big thing is my body as well. So obviously been in the weight room a lot in the summer, 3-4 times a week. So just making sure I'm physically ready for the challenge, because I've been through it 2 years, so I already know what's coming for me. And offensively with Coach Scheyer, just sharpening up, just little things that we both agreed that I had to work on, and it's just getting reps and being confident with it. I worked every day in the summer with Jay Lucas, and we shot every morning together. So just getting a bunch of reps up and just trusting my work. That's the biggest thing at the end of the day.
Last year we talked to you about some of the ways that you have represented your country, Australia, in international competition. Was there any more of that this year, or did you stay in Durham, or what was your off-season like?
Yeah, no, I actually decided to go back home for a little bit, and I had a couple of things I could have done with the Australian team, and just different paths, but I decided to just focus on myself this summer and just take a full summer where I can really just spend time with my family at home, but really just knuckle down and put the work in and just be able to change my game, develop my game, be the best player I can, and I feel like it was much needed, and I'm glad I took the time, and but I can't wait to be back in the uniform. I love playing for my country, and seeing them at the Olympics, just motivates me every day to be able to, wear the green and gold again, and I can't wait until I do.
Duke's point guard Tyrese Proctor is joining us here on the David Glenn Show. Because you didn't play American high school ball, people were not quite as familiar with you, although we knew what a great player you were. How is it now that you've been on TV so much these last 2 years? Do you get recognized a lot more often in person, and how does that go?
I would say I'm pretty well known back home, just because of how I was before I came over here and stuff like that. I mean, definitely in the Durham area now, just because I've been here for 2 years. So, whether it's walking down the street, going to a shop or something like that, definitely, familiar face, especially with me and Caleb being the returners this year.
It's an 18-team league now, so I guess you haven't been to all of the other 17 arenas, but most of them. What's your favorite place to play other than the obvious Cameron Indoor Stadium?
Definitely UNC. Just the rivalry that we have and that's been built before us. The Dean Dome is a huge place, and it's always, whenever we walk in, it's always rocking. So I'm looking forward to playing there. But there's a lot of the schools we play against. We get in every team's best shot. It's their championship game, so they all prepare for us, and we just got to make sure we prepare for them.
We often hear, whether it was Coach K or Coach Scheyer, talk about when you have Duke on your chest, as you just said, you are going to get somebody's best shot. How do you train yourself to be prepared, or tell the younger guys what to expect when you're going to, I don't know how hostile they get or what they scream at you, but it can't always be fun. How do you train your brain to make sure you stay focused on the job at hand?
I think it's just staying together within the guys in the locker room, not focusing on outside noise and just keeping it what it is, being honest with one another. But I feel like, the relationship you build with each other, I mean, you can really go against whoever, wherever. So, as long as we focus on the things we need to do, and we all know what we need to do. Obviously, I've talked to them about how some environments may be, whatever it may be. But, I mean, at the end of the day, everyone's played in front of a crowd before, and we just got to be able to trust each other in those moments.
Remind us, given your Australian roots, what was your image as a young man about the National Basketball Association or even basketball in America more generally?
I mean, growing up in Australia, I mean, it's everywhere. The NBA is so big all over the world. It carries such a big weight. And I mean, it's something I've dreamed of playing in since I was a little kid, but college basketball has been a big thing as well. And my dad being from America, I've obviously grew up watching a lot of basketball, so seeing the guys go from college to the league, and I mean, all the leagues, the NBL back home in Australia has been really big too. So, I mean, basketball is just sort of taking over the world now, and it's just great to see.
Did you follow the Australian NBA guys when you were a youngster?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know a lot of them that are in the league right now. I'm close friends. I play with a lot of them, live with a lot of them. So I'm always, close and talking to them nonstop.
How about like the old timers? Like, is Luke Longley off of your radar, or would that have been?
I've spoken to, Delly, Luke, Shane Hill, like all those guys. There's a lot of different players. Patty Mills, like everyone in the current. But yeah, I've spoken to Luke.
When you look at your roster and you know what it takes to compete for an ACC title, you were part of one. Do you believe that roster is capable of reaching those kind of goals?
Yeah, 100%, without a doubt. I have full faith that if we put the work in like we have been and stay together when it's going to get tough throughout the season. So when we stay together, when we face some adversity or some challenges, being able to see how we are. It all shows off from the work that we did in the summer. See how we are as a team, how close we really are. Because you can talk about what you want, but at the end of the day, you're gonna have to prove it. So I think there's a great, we have such a great group of guys, and I'm just excited for it.
His name's Tyrese Proctor, Duke point guard. Thanks for joining us again on the David Glenn Show.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And thanks to you for being with us on the North Carolina Sports Network. If you are anywhere near Wilmington, North Carolina, and looking for a little live music, a cold beer, a tangy slushie, a fun crowd, or just a taste of the good life at the beach, Jimmy's Bar in Wrightsville Beach is the place for you. Located on North Lumina Avenue, just 1 block from the sand and waves of the Atlantic Ocean, Jimmy's features a full bar with nightly beer and drink specials, and it hosts musical performers almost every day of the year. One more fun fact, Jimmy's annual Children's Bike Drive, which started in 2017, now distributes more than 1,000 bicycles and helmets per year to young people in the Wilmington area and beyond. Jimmy's Bar, your home away from home on Lumina Avenue in Wrightsville Beach.
This segment brought to you by our great friends at Atlantic Tire and Service, where DG and his family take all of their vehicles for routine maintenance, service needs, and a world-class selection of new tires. Atlantic Tire and Service, your one-stop tire and auto repair provider with highly trained technicians and a sales and support staff that are second to none. They've grown to 6 Triangle area locations, 2 in Raleigh, 2 in Cary, 1 in Durham, and one in Wake Forest. You can learn more online at AtlanticTireOnline.com.
Back here at the ACC tip-off event, our next guest is from the Duke Blue Devils, Caleb Foster, back for year number 2 wearing the Duke Blue. Caleb, welcome to the David Glenn Show. How are you?
Yeah, good. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you. Tell us, how old were you when you first had Duke basketball on your radar?
I probably was like 7 or 8.
And what was that picture like in your head?
My family was big Duke basketball fans, so they kind of just passed it through their generation, and it just stuck with me. And ever since a little kid, I was watching Duke. I got pictures from me. I used to cry when we lost, and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been a while.
For your entire childhood, there was a Hall of Famer named Mike Krzyzewski in charge, and then sure enough, by the time you're a high school senior or going through the recruiting process, it was this Jon Scheyer guy. Did that jolt you at all, or were you, because Coach Scheyer, of course, recruited for Coach K, was it just a smooth transition in your eyes?
It was definitely a smooth transition. Knowing Coach K's and Coach Scheyer's history, Coach Scheyer has been to the national championship. He's been in my shoes, and he knows what it takes to win, and he knows what it takes to get there. And I mean, he's been with Coach K. He played for him, and then was on staff with him. So I mean, he has all the tools to be a successful coach, and I'm so glad that I'm able to call him my coach.
There was a crazy stretch last spring where you and other guys who played a lot, everybody's got to make their own decision best for themselves, right? So Kyle Filipowski moves on to the NBA. Mark Mitchell transfers. Jeremy Roach transfers. You and Tyrese, of course, return. What was your line of thinking about why you wanted to remain with the Blue Devils?
It just goes back to my roots. I mean, like, this is something I dreamed of my whole life, and the situation was right for me. Coach has always believed in me since the day he could call me the first time, and I have loyalty to Coach. I mean, I love him, and there's no other coach I'd rather play for.
When fans hear about recruits who are considering Duke, maybe they watch videos or whatever or read articles, you often host recruits, right? So you get to know them when they're still in high school. What do you remember about the first time you saw Cooper Flagg play basketball in person?
It was actually in person. I think it was pretty much this summer. I mean, he's unbelievable. He's as advertised. But the most thing that surprised me is he's humble. I mean, he gets all this pub, but he's just like us. He wants to fit in. He wants to be just like us. So, I mean, he's a wonderful kid, and he deserves everything he's getting.
When you see that, I think it's of the top 10 guys who signed with the ACC, 6 of them signed with the Blue Devils. That's Duke 6, everybody else combined 4. When you practice every day with and against these guys, how else does that talent show up even beyond Cooper Flagg? What can you tell us about some of those others?
I mean, it's down the line. I mean, from top to bottom in the recruit class, coaches did a phenomenal job bringing these phenomenal talents in. They pick up concepts really well. They're competitive. They want to win, and they do whatever it takes to win. I just told somebody earlier. I mean, in practice, it's the most competitive team I've been a part of, and if you lose, you run. So nobody likes to run in practice. So we go at each other each and every day. So
it's more competitive than the last 2 Duke teams you were on. In what way?
Yeah, it's more competitive than last year.
Last year, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's just more depth, and then it's different because we had guys previously that know what to expect, and it's more guys now that just don't know what to expect. It's their first time at Duke. And it's really only me and Reese. We're the only 2 that know what to expect. So, I mean, everybody's fighting for playing time, and Coach made it pretty clear that it's not given, it's earned. So everybody just trying to earn playing time, and the ultimate goal is to win. So we're just trying to push each other to our limits and be the best team we could be.
Duke doesn't take a ton of transfers historically, but you have Sion James, who was like the main man at Tulane, Malik Brown from Syracuse that we did get to see quite a bit of, and then Mason Gillis of Purdue that we also got to see because they went all the way to the Final Four. What have you seen or what has jumped out about any of those 3 guys so far?
All of them have been phenomenal additions to the team. I'm so glad we got them on our team. They bring different aspects of experience from their different locations that they played at. And it helps me and Tyrese, and like us all as a whole, we help lead the young guys and show them what college basketball is about, the attention to detail, the work that it takes, the recovery, and and then the hardships. You gotta do all of this, and then you got to balance class on top of that. So all of those guys, man, they're great addition to our teams, and they've helped us lead the young guys and bring them in and make them feel comfortable.
Duke's Caleb Foster is joining us on the David Glenn Show. You visited Cameron Indoor Stadium as a recruit. You probably grew up watching it on TV. Yeah. How do you describe wearing the Duke uniform as a player to someone who, of course, most of us will never experience what it's like to have that group of Cameron crazies rooting for you?
It's absolutely unbelievable. It's just like a dream. I've dreamed of this moment ever since I was born, and I was a little kid, and I can't give you anything else but a dream.
Do you get a lot of ticket requests from family and friends? And in a smaller building than some other places, is that hard to fulfill?
Yeah, but it's people who've been with me from day in and day out. I'm gonna work and I'm gonna get them in there. I mean, it's a phenomenal experience to have, is to come and watch a game in Cameron. It's the best venue in all of college sports.
What's your view of the NBA whenever that happens? How long have you dreamed about playing there, and what's your philosophy about picking the right time to try to go there?
Yeah, I mean, ever since I was a kid, I dreamed of playing in the NBA, and also, like I've just said, I dreamed of playing at Duke. And so I'm just really focused on being where my feet are and being a star and leading the team at Duke. And as the time comes, the NBA will take care of itself.
Who was your favorite Duke player growing up?
Put me on. It's multiple. I really love Tyus Jones. I told somebody earlier that I was at a CP3 camp a long time ago. I don't know if he remembers this, but I was young, and I was dapping him up every time he come off the court, and I had a Duke shirt on. So he did it. Austin Rivers, Kyrie, Luke Kennard. Those are all guys that I looked up to, and I still watch film on from their games at Duke.
Who are your favorite players in the NBA these days?
My favorite player is Devin Booker and Kyrie Irving. My dad's favorite player is Kyrie Irving, so he always sends me a lot of stuff on him and what he does to be successful on the court.
How do you describe how your family helped you grow to the point where you were this sensational high school prospect and able to live your dream of playing at Duke?
I mean, words can't even describe it. I mean, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here today. Day in and day out, they sacrifice things to get me to practice and to workouts and to travel the country while still balancing work and providing for me to have food on the table. I mean, it's just no words that can describe how thankful I am to have them. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here.
What's it like trying to balance academics and athletics at a school that is obviously a world-famous university, just as you're a world-famous basketball program?
It's really hard, honestly, but it comes with being a student athlete at Duke. It's what we signed up for. And I think we do a pretty good job of having times in our schedule where we can focus on getting our work done, and I think we do a good job of attending and participating in classes and stuff like that. So, I mean, if we don't do that, we don't play, so it's really important to have a Duke education, and that's what you come to Duke for ultimately.
Do the Duke students let you be a student, or if you have a class, are they going to know, hey, that's Caleb Foster over there, and you get a little different treatment?
Nah, honestly, I mean, the Duke community is great. I mean, it's just they just let us, I mean, they tell, oh, good game. It's love when we see them, but they just let us, and they treat us like we're normal kids. And they then when it's time, they support us like crazy. So I love the crazies, and I love the Duke University community.
Coach Scheyer told us he doesn't talk a ton about some of the goals like winning a national title or winning an ACC title. Mm-hmm. How about for you individually, beyond the team goals? How would you list your personal goals for the upcoming season?
Personal goal is really just to lead and win. I mean, I feel like if we win and I lead in the right way, that all the goals as a team we will fulfill as a team and individually. That just comes with winning. And, so I'm just trying to win. I don't really have any personal goals I'm set on right now. If I win, I feel like everything that I need in the future will come.
Last thing for you, that Hall of Fame guy is still around the program. So even though you don't get to play for the guy that you watched growing up, you kind of get him as an unofficial assistant coach or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Give us a nature of just how often you see him and how often you're able to just soak up his wisdom.
Coach K he's around often. He's around really. He comes to practice sometimes. He takes notes. He talks to us. So it's, like you said, it's just like a long distance assistant coach. I know he watches all of our games, and he roots us he roots on us to do the best we can. And I mean, ultimately this is all because of him. I mean, he built this brotherhood, this organization, and he built it from the ground up. And I mean, I'm glad that I get to carry that on for him.
Last thing for you, a lot of young people watch you and admire you on and off the court. What is your advice when you meet a young person, whether or not they're an athlete, about just the smartest way to either pursue their sport or to just pursue being a good person?
Just be yourself, be kind, be respectful, be where your feet are. Don't try to, just try to learn and get better each and every day. And don't look and compare yourself to others, because everybody's different. Everybody has different struggles they go through. So, I mean, just pray like I do. I just pray every night, every morning, and do the best I can, and everything will take care of itself.
I'll give you a famous quote. You're a smart guy at Duke, so you'll get it. Comparison is the thief of joy. You know that one? Yeah. Good work.
Yes, sir.
That's exactly great advice from a young Caleb Foster instead of an old David Glenn. Thanks for joining us on the David Glenn Show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And that quote again is, comparison is the thief of joy. That's the whole stay where your feet are stuff that Caleb's talking about, and not to compare yourself to others all the time, whether you're a young person or old like me. We'll be back after this on the North Carolina Sports Network. Michael Berard, Managing Director Investments with the Founders Group at Stifel, works with a select group of high net worth individuals and institutions to develop and implement investment plans tailored to their specific objectives and risk tolerances. If you are interested in highly personalized, well-researched guidance and outstanding personal service, you can contact Michael at 984-364-2002. That's 984-364-2002. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE. One of my favorite restaurants in Raleigh for many years now has been The Oak Scratch Kitchen and Bourbon Bar. It's located on Lake Boone Trail, which is a perfect location for a great meal and beverage if you're on your way to nearby Carter Finley Stadium or perhaps PNC Arena for a concert, Wolfpack or Hurricanes game, or other event. The menu is incredibly tasty and creative. The atmosphere is a lot of fun. The bourbon options are as high-end and varied as you'll find anywhere. The staff is super classy and first-rate, and I've just always loved the people, the food, and the overall vibe there. When I took Carolina Hurricanes owner Tom Dundon to lunch, yes, meaning the billionaire who owns the hockey team, I took him to The Oak. Seriously, it's that good. Learn more or make a reservation by visiting their website, theoakraleigh.com. That's theoakraleigh.com. Our next guest stepped into one of the most prominent head coaching positions in all of college basketball prior to last season, initially when he was just 34 years old. And already he's the only man ever to lead any school to the Atlantic Coast Conference Men's Basketball Championship as a player and as a head coach. A star guard under legendary Duke coach Mike Krzyzewski, our guest Jon Scheyer led the Blue Devils to back-to-back ACC titles in 2009 and 2010. During that senior year, 2010, he also became a first-team All-ACC player, a consensus All-American, and an NCAA champion. He and his wife, Marcel, have been married for almost 7 years now, and they have 3 children. Jon Scheyer, welcome back to the David Glenn Show. I know you as a media member. Like, if I asked you for a 45-minute interview and you said, DG, man, I'm probably only going to have 15 minutes. Like, you're just very transparent that way without being hurtful somehow, which is a credit to you. Do you have to have those upfront communications about, hey, man, if you were the main man at Tulane or wherever, we got this recruiting class, we've got some returning starters in Tyrese. How do you handle that on the front end? Because I guess it could cause you to miss some recruits depending on how you communicate.
Sure. I just think it's the only way to build a trusting and great relationship, right? And, the thing I love with all 3 of those guys, we talked about you have a chance to start and to play a lot of minutes. We wouldn't be recruiting you otherwise. Yeah. But to have something promised to you, we're not going to do that. And to their credit, all they wanted to know was, if I earn something, will I get it? And the answer was emphatic, yes, emphatically. Absolutely, you'll get it. And so I just think it says a lot about them, and to come into this environment, to want to become to play a key role on a really good team.
This is a second delicate question, so I'm going to try to be as respectful as I can. I know your job description is hard, but I think it's a fair question. If I sent my 17 or 18-year-old to play for you, there are certain expectations that I would have.
Right.
I would not expect you to know the details of whom he's dating and stuff like that. Kyle Filipowski, your former player, was involved in some weird headlines in the offseason. What is your bottom, without getting into the details, just what's your general observation about what a head coach's job is and that of your staff versus, you got some criticism from members of the Filipowski family essentially over the person he was dating. What is your bottom line on that general picture?
Well, first and foremost, I think when it comes to Kyle, what's out there in the news at the time was not even close to the reality of Kyle's everyday, of who he is. I'm not going to get into anything about his dating or anything like that. My job is to care for them as people, not to control or to do anything when they're in high school. They're not here yet. But I can tell you that when our guys are here, the support and care that they get from our coaching staff, our support staff, is top-notch. And that's our promise to anybody that comes into our program. And I'm very proud of our staff and our coaches for how they've handled that and for how they treat everybody with the love and care that they deserve.
As we let you go, you are experimenting in a different way than Duke has done in the past with this blend of very experienced transfers and this #1 recruiting class. Internally, do you talk about competing for an ACC title and a national championship, or do you word your goals in different ways?
We even talked about that more than one time. I said it right away. For us, I wanted the focus not to be of a result. I want it to be with what we can control every day. And that's our attitude, that's our effort, that's being a great teammate, and that's been our focus. To me, the result comes from the mindset of being our best every day. And our team has done that. I love their approach and what they've done. And we've got a long way to go now, way to go. But that's going to be our approach.
Last thing for you, you've always had a special relationship with Coach K. You have shared that nobody knows what it's like to be in your shoes any better than he does. How do you describe the nature of that relationship now that you are several years into trying to fill his shoes?
Look, I think as long as I'm coaching, he's always going to be my go-to and always going to be my coach. I think we've developed a great continuity with understanding just seeing him when he comes to a practice, seeing him in the office, being in, a lot of communication having together where that's my guy. And we're in a great place, and, he has a lot of different things he's doing. But I just selfishly love having him touch our guys because I want them to experience what I was able to experience with Coach. And that's something I hope we can continue to do for a long time.
Please tell me you're surprised that I've covered the ACC as long as you've been alive.
I was incredibly surprised.
Thank you, Coach. I feel a little bit younger after you said that. His name is Jon Scheyer. He is the third-year head coach of the Duke Blue Devils. Thanks for joining us on the North Carolina Sports Network.